All right, so now let's get into picks against the spread. I know James is ready to see this. We've got a ton of people over on YouTube. Again, make sure you go in and and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. And again, if you want to, you can join our contest, our drawing to get a $25 gift card to Charleston Sports Pub. Again, located Mount Pleasant, James Island, Somerville, Charleston, Greenville, Clemson. $25 if you tag 4 of your friends, the lucky number 4, like Deshaun Watson's number. Tag 4 of your friends in the comments on the show. That will get you entered into a drawing of the hat of your name to win this gift certificate, and then we will reach out to you, if you win it. But again, thank you so much for joining in, Facebook, YouTube. If you miss anything, you can check out our YouTube page or listen to the podcast afterwards. Let's get into the picks against the spread, and we're going to do this college game day style where we go really fast. You ready? You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, starting off with the ACC games, you've got number 11 Miami -10 at NC State. 60% of the public going for Miami. They just came off a bye. Both teams just came off a bye week. Miami has beat NC State in total offense and total defense. They're one of the best teams in the red zone on offense and defense in the ACC. So go ahead and give me Miami to cover -10.
I'm taking Miami as well. Normally, I'd like to take NC State on a Friday night in a crazy environment. The environment's not going to be crazy this time. I think Miami can pose them some problems, and Derek King can give them some things to worry about over there. So I'm going to take Miami as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Devin Leary is still out for NC State, correct?
That's right.
Is he out for the year? Okay. Yeah, I want to take Miami to cover in this one. If Devin Leary was playing, I might be tempted to take NC State in this, but he's out. That offense is not the same. Give me Miami.
Agree.
Next up, Liberty, number 25, Liberty. Go Flames, my future alma mater. Oh, so weird to say that. But number 25, Liberty at Virginia Tech, -14.5 for Virginia Tech. 60% of public going with Liberty. You got to give me Liberty in this case. I'll take the 14.5 points. Liberty can score. You got two teams that I think can both score when they get the ball. Virginia, obviously, through the running game, and Liberty through the passing game. But I think it's going to be a high scoring. Take the over, and also give me Liberty plus 14.5.
Give me Liberty as well. Virginia Tech does this almost every year. Every year we think they're going to be this good team or in this improved team, and they drop one or almost lose one to some kind of team from out of nowhere, some nobody team. And Liberty's actually a top 25 ranked team right now, so they're certainly not a nobody. But yeah, I'm going to take Liberty in the points too.
We'll go ahead and strike the lone wolf because I'm going to take Virginia Tech to cover this one. That game, that doy game or that doink game, whatever you want to call it, for Virginia Tech's already happened this year. It happened in Winston-Salem. Give me the Hokies to cover.
Okay, got our first lone wolf of the night, so good luck with that, Houston. Next up, North Carolina, -10.5, falling out of the top 25 at Duke. 55% picking North Carolina right now. Bo Corrales has been out for the last 2 games. Big-time receiver for them. Consistent guy, more like your Hunter Renfrow type guy for the Tar Heels. And UNC's defense, as we mentioned earlier, is getting worse. We saw them perform or not perform against Virginia last week, and Sage Surratt even had a bad game, in my opinion. I really have no idea on this game, to be honest. I wrote down no idea. But you got to give me the better team. In this case, I think the Tar Heels are better than Duke. I think that they can beat Duke in the sense that it's kind of like what do you call it? The daisy chain effect, or if you link it back. North Carolina beat NC State. NC State beat Duke. So give me North Carolina.
What did you say the spread was on this one? 9.5?
10.5. Which I mean, you basically going to say 10, right? I mean.
These lines have changed like crazy since I looked at them this morning. So almost all of them. Yeah, I'm taking UNC here. UNC's been pretty good covering me for the most part, except for last week, of course. They've been good. Their offense is crazy. Look, their defense hasn't been good all year, but Duke doesn't have a great offense. I know they scored a bunch on Charlotte, but let's be real, it's Charlotte. So I'm not too concerned with that. UNC, I think, can win this by a couple touchdowns.
UNC, give me that all day. Duke, I'm glad you got me my win last week, Duke, but you still stink. I'm going to pick UNC.
Don't ride them too long like I did with North Carolina State. They were good for 4 games, and then it was all over for the Wolfpack there. Next up, Boston College minus 14 at Syracuse. Oh, by the way, James gets in and says he's off of UNC. They stink. They lost for him last week. So, hey, I get it. Take a break. Take a break. We're going to pick these games anyways, but I get it. You got to take a break. You got to let them sit on the sideline for a while and stop picking them. But Boston College minus 14. BC just came off of a good game against Clemson, but kind of had less of a game in the second half. So let's remember that. But minus 14 at Syracuse, who I think is one of the worst teams in the ACC. 92% of the public is going with the BC, and you got to think if Jurkovic is still good after getting slammed to the ground by Brian Bresee, go ahead and give me Boston College to beat up Syracuse, torch them by more than 14.
Give me the Eagles as well. Boston College. It's funny. I looked at the spread this morning, and this was obviously a mistake. This was obviously not what it was supposed to be. But it said Syracuse was +1, and I look at it, and I'm like, what? I was like, this should be like +17 or something. This is kind of crazy. So I'm definitely taking Boston College. But yeah, about +14 sounds more like it. I'll take BC again, assuming Jurkovic is healthy as well.
So, in normal circumstances, I hate picking Syracuse in any form or fashion.
Don't do it.
I would normally pick Boston College, but here's the reason that I'm not going to pick Boston College. I'm going to pick them to win, but I'm not going to pick them to cover. It's a week after an exhaustive, emotional game where you lose to Clemson. They're going to be sleepy. They're going to sleepwalk through the first half. They're going to get popped in the face, similar to what they did to Clemson. Syracuse is going to come out, pop them in the mouth. Boston College is going to have to fight back and win. I like them to win. I don't like them to cover.
Statistically, that's a good play if you're listening to Houston now, who has a second lone wolf out there. We haven't even got to Allen's top 5 games of the week, and Houston's already lone wolf 2 games now, so write that down. Next up, Pittsburgh at Florida State, minus 2.5. 95% going with Florida State. Kenny Pickett is still questionable with an ankle injury. Tamarian Terry is actually expected to return after having a knee scope. Pitt is on a killer losing streak, minus 4 games. They lost 4 games in a row. They had kept games close or won games when they had Pickett. We don't know if they're going to have him or not. So give me Florida State with a 2.5 spread. Florida State minus 2.5 at home with a 2.5 spread, basically winner. So go ahead and give me the Seminoles on this one.
First of all, I want to get in without taking up too much time, but our friend Jason Priester gets in on the comment line and says Cuse beats BC straight up. So talk about a bold prediction there from Jason L. Priester. We'll see how it works out for him. Look, I took FSU as well, and that's just because Pitt does not have an offense without their quarterback. I mean, without Pickett, they've got nothing. At least they haven't shown anything so far. FSU has shown signs of life and then been a disaster at other times. I'm hoping I don't really care because I don't like FSU at all. But as far as picks are concerned, I'm hoping this week is one of those times where they show a little promise. I'll take FSU as well.
Give me FSU. Pitt stinks. I'll never pick them again.
I'm kind of on the same train with Pitt there for sure. I hate picking Florida State. I don't ever tell Walt Deptula that I picked Florida State just now, but I hate it. So go ahead and is that a lock? Is that a lock? We all pick Florida State on that one. So
mortal lock of the week. Give it right there. So mortal lock of the week.
Okay.
Florida State.
All right. Next, the last one up for the ACC, not including the Clemson game that we've already picked. If you missed that, you can go check out one of our replays later on this week. Louisville at Virginia, minus 2.5. 88% is doing Virginia, coming off a big win against the Tar Heels. Louisville, also, I didn't put down who they played last week, but really it's all about who wins this game again at a minus 2.5. Virginia is going to be able to run all over Louisville. Now, I do think Louisville may be able to run all over Virginia as well, but give me Virginia and the momentum. Even though, yes, Brennan Armstrong did leave the game with a leg injury. I did check on that, and there is no word that he is out. He's not on the injured list as of right now. He actually, after the game, was in a press conference and looked fine to me. So give me Virginia to cover the minus 2.5 at home against Louisville.
I'm going to take the Cavaliers here as well, Morgan. I'm not really liking all this agreeing with you. I've got to start differing from you so that I may have a chance to catch up. I don't like where this is going because the one pick that we differed on, I don't feel real good about, and that's Notre Dame. So, but I'm going to take the Cavaliers here as well. Louisville's trash. Every time I pick them, they screw me. I'm tired of them. I'm done with the Cardinals for good.
I agree. Louisville stinks. Virginia also stinks. They play a fullback at quarterback. They're going to win this game. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be like 9-3 or something like that, but Virginia will still cover.
James said, is Virginia really that good? Go look at the replay of that game from last week. Brennan Armstrong has really found something, kind of like a Tim Tebow type. We talked about that's kind of his style. He's found a little bit, he's gotten more comfortable in that role. Let's just put it that way. Is he that good? I don't know. Is Virginia that good? I don't know. But it does seem like their quarterback play has improved week over week, especially since Clemson. Their offense has seemed to get it together a little bit better. Another thing that I didn't get to say at the beginning of the show, because we had some issues, but our current record right now, guys, I had another losing week. Should
have left this out.
4-6 for me. Allen 5-5. Houston 5-5. Right now, I'm at an even 500 at 42-42. Allen is at 464, 39-45, and Houston is at 452%, and he is 38-46. So Houston and Allen really close, and I'm only about 3 games ahead of the rest of the pack there. So that's kind of our current record. We didn't get a chance to kind of talk about that, but let's get into Allen's games of the week, and I'll start it out. But Allen, you start with your description of the game or what you think is going to happen with the game. So you give us your prediction. I'll start with the game name, and then we'll go Houston, and then I'll finish it up, okay? All right, number 23, Michigan, -3 at 13, Indiana. Joe Milton for Michigan. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, look, Michigan came out and kind of set the world on fire and blew somebody out week 1, and then week 2 they got beat by Michigan State. It was not good. Okay, that was very unexpected. Michigan State's not a very good team, and they lost 27-24, I believe it was. Indiana came out. I picked them against the spread against Penn State, and obviously we know how that one went. That was a fun game to watch, one of the best games of the year. And then Indiana beat Rutgers this past week. I like Indiana. I think they're a pretty good team. I think Michigan somehow gets back on track, finds their groove, and I absolutely despise myself for picking Michigan, but I'm taking the Wolverines here to cover.
Is it going to me or you, Morgan?
You're up, Houston.
Okay. I feel like this line's a little fishy. I don't like Michigan. I think Michigan, what kind of tipped the hand for me that Michigan's not a good team. Minnesota, they blew them out, and then Minnesota got blown out by Maryland. So Minnesota stinks. Michigan also stinks because they lost to a Michigan State team that got blown out at home by Rutgers. Michigan is not good. Indiana is good. I think Indiana goes in and wins by more than 2 scores. Give me Indiana and the points.
Whoa, more than 2 scores. That's some points up for Michael Penix Jr. Go ahead and give me that. I love the home dog in this one. Big Penix Jr., Indiana. Morgan and Houston going to take it. Allen, making Allen the lone wolf there with number 23, Michigan. And as you know, if you're a fan of the show from last year, I hate Jim Harbaugh. And so that was not a surprising pick from my end. West Virginia at number 22, Texas, -6.5. Texas. Texas. Allen, what you got?
Look, West Virginia had a great game against K-State, like we talked about. They absolutely blew them out. It was unexpected. K-State was the favorite in that game. K-State was not the favorite in that game. They should have been the favorite in that game, and they weren't. That's the line we thought all smelled fishy. Look, at West Virginia is a great team when they play at home. And they're not bad on the road either, but it's just they're up and down. They're crazy. It's hard to predict. Texas is kind of the same way for the most part. They have no defense, but their offense can score some points. I'm going to take them at home to score some points. Maybe it's an overtime game. They're prone to overtime games. I'm going to take Texas to win by a touchdown.
Agreed. There's one team that has Sam Ellinger, and that kid can ball. Give me Texas.
He can ball. But I can't do it. 60% of the public is picking West Virginia. I didn't pick West Virginia against K-State, and they burned me. I didn't pick Texas against Oklahoma State, and they burned me. So what do? I'll go with the team that has the better defense. You're going to see a trend here. I'll go with the team that has the better defense, allowing 255.7 yards per game compared to Texas's 407.8 yards per game. Now, I know they did play Oklahoma and Oklahoma State so far, so that is a factor in that. And there is that one major factor, the overtime killer, in Sam Ellinger. We back. We back in the overtime. At least that's true. We're back in overtime. But give me West Virginia plus the points in this case. Traveling with 6.5. I'll take it. I'll be the lone wolf on that one. Next up, number 8, Florida at number 5, Georgia, minus 3.5. Al, what you got?
You said it's minus 3.5?
That's what I got.
All right. So, look, at the beginning of the year, I picked Florida, I believe it was, to win the East. I thought it would be close. I was not anticipating Georgia's defense being quite as good as it is. I mean, we all knew they were going to be a good defense, but goodness gracious, their defense has pretty much been otherworldly this year. It's been kind of crazy to watch, and Florida's defense is a train wreck, which is something we're not used to for the Florida Gators. They almost always have an elite defense. Now it's their offense that's good, and their defense stinks. So I really wasn't sure what to pick on here, but Georgia's got a lot of injuries right now, a ton of injuries on defense. They could be without their 2 starting safeties, 2 defensive tackles. There's just all kind of problems going on there. And we don't know about George Pickens, their best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the country. Don't know if he's going to play. He didn't play last week. So right now, just due to all the uncertainty, I don't think I have any choice but to take the Gators in this game.
Yep. Watching the Georgia-Kentucky game as briefly as I did on Saturday, Stetson Bennett is not a guy that I think can beat a top 5 to 10 team right now. I don't think they do it. I don't think he can beat the Gators. This might be the first game we see JT Daniels. So although I've heard he's not even the second string quarterback, I don't know what's going on. There's no answers. There's a ton of injuries and a ton of uncertainty. Give me the Gators.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, in that game that they just played, what was it, 14-3, 14-7?
21-3, I think was the final.
21-3. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say what is going to happen in this game. This is going to be one that might decide the SEC East. And now you guys are like trying to convince me otherwise. 76% of the public goes for Georgia. I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. I have my name down on Georgia right now. But going last, I can change it. I said I'll take the defenses in close games, plus this one is at home, and with the COVID rules in Athens, basically that's a full house. So another thing, Georgia has allowed 81 points this year. 41 of those came from Alabama. 5 games in, one team accounted for half their points allowed. It's a very, very close spread, 3.5. Give me the winner. Give me the home team. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs to go. Don't give me any thumbs down, Al. I see your hand moving up with the thumbs down. Don't you dare do it. Give me Georgia as the lone wolf pick there for me. Next one up, number 14, Oklahoma State, minus 12.5 at K-State, Kansas State. 55% of the public is picking Oklahoma State. Al, what you got?
Morgan, I feel bad because I do this on every pick because I'm not paying you any attention. What you said the pick's 12.5 or the spread's 12.5?
It's 12.5.
12.5. It's because it was 9.5 when I looked earlier this morning. 12.5 makes me feeling better because I picked Kansas State at 9.5. So I'm picking Kansas State to get back to what Kansas State was doing at the beginning of this year and upsetting Oklahoma and that kind of thing. Oklahoma State, look. I bet against them this past week. Texas, they came up big for us. Not all of us, Morgan, but I mean they came up big for some of us. And I think at home Kansas State's going to be able to get back and do some damage. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas State won this game, to be honest with you. But I'm going to take Kansas State with the points.
Agreed 100%. I'm taking Kansas State. Maybe not necessarily to win this game. Oklahoma State is going to come in. Emotional loss at home. They were the Big 12's final hope to make it to the playoff. Gone in a flash. They may not make it out of Manhattan alive. Give me the Cats.
Okay. I don't know where you guys are going with this. I think you're crazy. First thing is I hate this game because Kansas State just knocked off, is a knockoff Texas. Okay. Kansas State's a knockoff Texas, meaning that Oklahoma State's going to have problems again. However, you guys are talking about, Alan, you mentioned Oklahoma win. The Oklahoma win, they had a completely different quarterback. Thompson is not their quarterback now.
That's true.
They just lost and only put 10 points up. Now, yes, West Virginia has a great defense, as I mentioned before. But I got to take Oklahoma State in this one to cover minus 12.5. I lean towards Houston, though. I lean towards Houston in the sense that Oklahoma State may win, but not put up enough points to cover 12.5. So if that is any consolation here. And then the final game of the night, number 7, Texas A&M. I believe that's number 7, right? Am I saying that right? 7? Texas A&M minus 9.5 at South Carolina. At South Carolina. Public right now is picking 54% Texas A&M. Al, what you got?
Morgan, I heard the spread. It was 9.5. Thank you so much for so eloquently stating that.
I just was making sure the fans heard
it. So look, I'm picking the Aggies here. Kellen Mond seems to have these games where he just plays really well. He's actually being more consistent than he has been his entire career this season, in my opinion. A&M's actually looked pretty good, and I know your love affair with Jimbo Fisher is going to kind of cloud your judgment here, Morgan. But this is going to be an interesting game. South Carolina's been decent at times, but they've looked like trash at times as well. And I hate picking South Carolina, of course, so I'm going to go A&M here with the points.
The spread could be minus 120 points, and I'm picking against the Hens in the Midlands. Man, y'all look like trash in Baton Rouge. After I stuck my neck out for you, I stuck my neck out. I put my pride on the line. What do the Gamecocks do? They spit in my face and go lose to a team that went and lost 48-11 to the same Auburn team they beat. So come on. I'm not even picking you. You're dead to me. You stink, South Carolina. I'm picking the Aggies.
Error correction for me on that last game. What was I thinking? Or not the last game, but the Georgia game. It's the greatest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville, not in Athens. But I did like that. I did like that argument about COVID. They're going to have a packed house in Athens. That was really more for the joke than it was about the facts. So just throwing that out there. But I still got to go. I'm keeping my pick there. I really can't renege on that because of an error that I made. But anyways, I called 2 South Carolina friends tonight, and they wouldn't even pick themselves. 9.5 points is not enough points to beat Texas A&M, even at home. They said if it was Georgia, take the points, but it's not Georgia. They beat them 30-6 last year at Texas A&M. Expect them to come home. Yes, they did beat Auburn at home, but we all know that Chad Morris is suspect, to say the very least, if he'll have a job for very much longer as an offensive coordinator outside the high school ranks. I think he's going back to Texas. I think he's going back to high school because he obviously is on the downward spiral in college offensive coordinations. But you can never pick South Carolina unless you are Houston, and you saw what happened. I got to mention this again. Houston lone wolfed and picked South Carolina. You cannot pick South Carolina in this situation. Even their own fans say they don't have enough points. They don't even know who their quarterback is going to be at the end of the day. A lot of fans are hoping that they get blown out enough that Luke Doty gets in and gets to play a lot so they can see what he's going to do. That's where this fan base is at right now. Can you imagine if they had to play the team in the upstate at the end of the year, this year? It'd be kind of stressful with all the things going.
Gunnar Stockton's coming, man. Gunnar Stockton's coming. Wait until next year.
Houston is actually putting Gunnar Stockton down as a potential transfer already. He hasn't even actually committed, but he is already on the transfer watch even before committing. But anyways, I'm going to pick Texas A&M, make that a hammer home. All 3 of us pick Texas A&M, and that does it